Welcome to episode 141 of The Nero Show. In today's episode,
Bike Radar have done their big bike shootout. What is their race bike and endurance bike of the year for 2025? We chat through the results.
specialised release new packages of the SL8 whilst Cervelo launched the lightest climbing bike ever.
Of course, we've got Doggo Fast Bike, and Chris has a bit of a bone to pick with Masters Racing in the US. We chat what's on his mind. All right, let's get into it.
We're back. We're back in studio, Jesse.
Hello.
Facing each other. I think both of us have got a little bit to get through today. So, warning: this could drag on. The potential 2 or 3 hour endurance session.
Lock in.
Lock it in. Okay, where do you want to start?
Bike Radar.
Oh, we're handing out awards, Jesse. Fantastic.
Warren Rossiter's come off the ice. He's defrosted for the Bike Radar Annual Bike of the Year 2025. What is the duck's nuts of road and gravel cycling this year? There's 3 categories. They have Endurance Bike of the Year, Race Bike of the Year, and Gravel Bike of the Year. I'm going to leave the Gravel Bike of the Year one.
You're not going to delve deep into the.
If for those that care, it's a Parley Taos Force Axis.
Beautiful, wonderful, grip.
Amazing,
super,
very versatile.
Versatile
is what I wanted to hear. And then out of those 3, they picked the one.
Okay,
it's just knocked it out of the park. So what bikes did they choose? Race Bike of the Year, Cervelo S5 with Dura Ace Di2. Endurance Bike of the Year, Cannondale Synapse Carbon 2 with the Smart Sense. And that bike also got crowned their overall Bike of the Year for 2025.
They do love crowning an endurance bike as the overall Bike of the Year, don't
Usually.
they? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Defies received the Bike Radar stamp on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do they say about the Cervelo S5? To summarise it, they said it's fast, well-specced with reserves and power meter. It's got a World Tour pedigree, and the ride feel is more refined than the Colnago Y1 RS, which was their runner-up in the race bike category. That was the 2 that were the duking it out for the win. So more refined than the Y1 RS, and then the build package sort of made sense. Endurance bike and the overall Bike of the Year, the Cannondale Synapse Carbon 2 with the Smart Sense, they quoted as being, well, firstly comfortable, as you would expect from an endurance bike, well-specced, good geometry, and they did like that Smart Sense battery integration, which, for those that can't remember, that's the sort of internal storage battery that powers the inbuilt lights on the bike, the radar on the bike, and also in the SRAM Force group set version they had, also can power the group set. So it's almost like a car battery. So they did think that was really well done. So that was why that got Bike of the Year.
Top level, how do you feel about those just selections?
I think those are fantastic picks. Okay. When the Synapse was released, we chatted about it and we were quite positive about where it was headed. We sort of thought everything made sense and we thought it was a good bike. You've been a big fan of the Cervelo S5 for years, and the new one seems to be a good improvement. So I think across the board, I don't think you'll find anyone that really disagrees that the Cervelo S5 is a good race bike and the Synapse is a good endurance bike. It seems to make sense. So at a high level, no bones to pick, really. But then I was getting a bit confused because this award is used by brands. Like we've seen Giant on their global website use its Bike Radar Award sticker. Like on their homepage for the Defy, it has Bike Radar won the award, blah, blah, blah. So then I was starting to look into, hold on, what happened, what won last year? Because I'm going, okay, well, Cervelo S5 is the Bike of the Year. What's that beating? And so what bikes are they actually testing again? So they say we established 3 categories in our road and gravel Bike of the Year test this year, distilled from 5 in recent years to reflect what we know our audience love to read about. So these have 5 categories. Now it's just gravel, endurance, and race. That saw us put every race, endurance, and gravel bike that we've reviewed in 2025 in the pot for consideration, with the finest 5 examples for each category examined once more. The 2 standout candidates from each group of 5 were then put forward for a dedicated head-to-head test with back-to-back testing conducted to find a winner for each category. And that's if you go and watch the Bike Radar video about each category, that's what they're showing, that final test where they ride them back-to-back, which is good to do. And so I've gone to the link that has all their bike reviews for 2025. And the unfortunate thing is the big road bikes, the big well-known race bikes aren't in there. So there's no Specialized SL8, there's no Giant, which makes it a little murky because I had initially thought, 2025 Race Bike of the Year, Cervelo S5, means it's beaten the other bikes they've tested.
It's the best race bike you can buy in 2025.
No. It's the best race bike released in the 2025 year, which they have tested, even if they tested the bike last year. And so this is where it doesn't make any sense. So last year, in 2024, the race bike of the year was the Focus Izalco Max, the new one.
What?
Yes. That's where things don't really make sense. So in the same category, you can have, in 2024, the Focus Izalco Max 9.8 win, and then the next year, a Cervelo S5 wins. They are entirely different bikes. So how does that happen? Well, it's just because whatever the Focus was up against last year, there was no Cervelo. The Cervelo S5 wasn't released in 2024, so it wasn't up against that. And so you have these categories come up where they're not back reviewing, like, Tour Magazine, it's like a running list of bikes that they're objectively assessing against, whereas the Bike Radar aren't doing that. And so it just is a bit odd to me that, for example, Giant would use this as like best endurance bike. Yeah, but it's not beating the other endurance bikes which were released in other previous years. And so I think that's a bit, it's not necessarily misleading because they did explain how, it's not they hiding it. It's just, I think it kind of devalues the test a bit. And also, this is a pretty big deal. This gets the bike of the year, Bike Radar stuff gets a lot of views on YouTube. It's plastered all over their print magazines and online. It's like the headline feature is like, you wait for that Bike of the Year episode to come out. So it is a big deal.
I've spoken to industry people, and they've often quoted, but that Bike Radar, we got the award for so and thing. So it's not only something that the public know about, but the industry kind of get around it as well. I mean, look, the voting the voting protocol it's like an Oscars, right? So if the movie was released in that calendar year, then you can win the Bike of the Year for that year. It's that style of thing. I get it. But as a buying guide, which is, what these fucking magazines should be doing, because that's what they're for. They're buyer's guides. This is a complete cock-up, really, in terms of actually helping people buy a bike, because you're not actually comparing the bikes that we want to see compared to each other.
Do you see any way in which they could do this? Because they don't get to keep the bikes because they're test bikes, which they'd be giving back at the end of the testing period to the brands. So could you think of a way that they could do a running competition, leaderboard sort of style? Or is that just impossible because it's subjective year on year? You can't dust off a SL8 from 3 years ago.
You know the truth about this, Jesse?
What's that?
All they're actually really comparing is the packages that are delivered. That's actually all they're doing. They're comparing what the wheels are like, what the tires are like, how customized are the other specs like your handlebars and stems. What's the saddle like? The ride component of this, I'm not going to go into too much details, but the opinions of some of the people giving me the ride details on this are borderline irrelevant. So what you're actually doing is giving a buyer's guide onto the specs that are delivered to the shop that you can buy. And so that is easily comparable across years as far as I'm concerned. That S5, the new S5, this should be being compared to the SL8. It should be being compared to the new releases packages of the SL8 that you're seeing with the Roval wheels. There is nothing stopping them doing that. I just think it's two things. it's just an advertisement for the reviews that they've done previously on these bikes, number one. And number two, it's that we get criticized about this, fair enough, whatever, but it's that new is always better kind of thing that does irk me a little bit about this. And this just kind of reinforces that as far as I'm concerned. Does that kind of make sense? I didn't really answer your question. But no, I did answer your question. It is easy to compare across generations.
You would say kind of de-weight the sort of ride aspects of the review, weight more the spec, essentially the spec read, and then you can sort of keep the previous years in context and do a leaderboard.
Specifically when we're talking about the race bike review, the ride review that I'm getting from some of these people, irrelevant. Just give me the specs, the pricing, the weights, all that kind of stuff.
Why is it irrelevant? Why? Because they're not strong enough? Because they don't race it?
They haven't raced it.
Right.
They're not going to race it. I'm sorry, but you learn a shitload about a race bike in a race.
Okay.
That's what it's for.
Right.
So
okay.
I don't care. Right. Like if you, yeah. Yeah.
What about the endurance bike? Is Warren's review of how an endurance bike is for a mammal, is that
superior to what I can give?
Okay.
100%. Absolutely. That is super valuable. It's got to be more than a spec read. It's geometry obviously play a big part in that chat. And then I do like the feature list and specifications that you can get from endurance bikes in 2025, 2026. I think are fantastic. I went
back and forth on this because when I really sort of was digging into it, I was like, oh, there's a good bike. So I'm like, oh, but does that mean they think it's better than the Air Road? And then I went, hold on. No. They're not even comparing that. I was like, oh, this is kind of crap. But then when you actually think about it, it would be quite difficult to do. How would you even do that? Is that just, are we kind of asking for something that's not really possible? It almost is. I mean, you'd have to remember, Warren would have to remember an endurance bike he reviewed 3 years ago.
And he can work that out. He's got a muscle memory of compliance that's just ingrained into his soul.
If you like really broke down the aspects of the ride and rated them out of 10, I reckon you could get close. I reckon you could.
I tell you who did, like, bloody Dave manages it.
Yeah.
Arthur. Yeah. He's got his little test loop. He's comparing cross generations, stiffer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's like in the Cotswolds. Fantastic. No, I think that's just I mean, he's kind of got his head around that feature pretty well. I think the way kind of Cade do it, they seem to like. They use like a ranking cool wall type thing, so something can kind of beat something from a few years back, and it sort of plays along like that. I just don't think it's good enough to say that the S5 is the race bike of the year when you're not comparing it against the Aeroad CFR, Scott Foil, or Specialized SL8.
I actually 100% agree.
And just quickly. If Cervelo put this fucking thing on their website, that's it. Done. Do not put this logo on your website.
Just out of interest, the both bikes that won the endurance and the race category are from the same parent company.
Ooh, conspiracy theory.
I'm just asking questions, Chris. I'm just,
Last year's race bike of the year?
Yeah.
What did you say it was?
Focus. Oh.
Hello. Hello.
Look.
I don't think it works like that.
No, I don't think it does either. I think it's just. No, I wasn't. I'm joking. I'm just saying it's more. I mean, we just took the Mickey out of the test, but clearly these are some good bikes. So for whatever's direction is, if there is direction coming from above each brand individually, it seems to be working. That's about all I had for that. Bike Radar Awards. They've kind of I've ended up agreeing with them. It's just the way they got there is a little dodgy in my opinion. You brought up there the when a when a bike model doesn't change, like the SL8, but they update the spec for the next year, it doesn't get reassessed. Specialized have done that. So they've released their 2026 builds. Can we talk through it for the SL8?
I would love to talk about Specialized, Jesse. So I've finally seen a few, having been in California.
First thing, S-Works Tarmac SL8 SRAM Red Axis. It's gone up $500.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Donald.
What do you get for that extra $500? You get the new Roval CLX3 wheels, not the Sprint wheels. So I can't see the Sprint ones. Remember the ones that are just ever so slightly deeper, and we were a little bit confused. What's this going to come on? Is this just aftermarket? Well, none of the 2026 builds are coming with the CLX Sprint wheels, so that's kind of interesting. You get Ceramic Speed SLT headset bearings, which is nice. Just means your headset lasts longer. You don't have to do a full strip and rebuild as often, which is nice. And finally, you get some 28mm tires.
Yes.
Instead of the old 26s.
26s.
They're good tires too. Specialized do make a good tire. And thankfully you get a decent width, which is nice to see. That's pretty much the main changes. You got some new colors. A nice gloss red sky. Kind of a nice color. And then it's sort of a metallic grey-y colour.
That red sky bike reminds me of the Trinity Racing SL7s. They had a little bit of lime green in them, but if you're listening, Specialized, that's what I'll test. That one, thank you.
Here's where things get interesting. If you want to get the 2026, the new version, you can get your SRAM Red Axis. They've also updated the SRAM Force Axis version. If you aren't really a SRAM fanboy, you love your Shimano, as of September 2025, there's no update for Shimano version. So if you want Dura-Ace, you get the current version of Dura-Ace, but it only comes in the discount price, $13,000 down to $11,000. That has the old CLX2 wheels. The Ultegra version is the same. So there's no update to the Shimano version.
No Shimano package.
No.
So when you and I sort of first saw this, we went full, because we saw another brand do this, didn't we? Who was it? We just prior to the new SRAM Red release, they only launched Dura-Ace group sets. Can't remember what
I can't remember the brand, but it does happen. Like if you're going to release a new model and you know a new group set's going to come in 2 months, you don't respec the old version of the group set because it's going to be redundant. So you just put that version on sale and you wait. And so you're getting a sniff of this and you go, oh, this means new Dura-Ace must be.
Go.
Are we counting down the days? Otherwise, so either the new Dura-Ace is going to come when this video uploads, or if that doesn't happen and it's another 6 months, 12 months before the new Shimano comes, like, wouldn't Shimano be bleeding sales? Because who's buying the previous year with the old Dura-Ace when you can get the new one with the new Roval wheels and the new SRAM Red? And then every month that goes by while they don't have a SL8 build with the new Dura-Ace, they're losing people to SRAM. And generally, if you had a Shimano bike and you went, I want the new SL8 S-Works, so I'm going to have to get the red one, like, you generally don't come back. No. You just sort of stick with what you got.
I've given up predicting. I mean, I
asked you, do you have any inside goss here? Because when's this thing coming?
I thought Shimano was coming before this year's tour, and then I had someone else telling me, "Oh no, it's not until 2027." So I don't know at this point. I'm just retiring from predicting that. I'm sure we can probably find someone who might know, but
if you're Shimano Road, aren't you panic stations?
Dopey move.
It's not even I don't even know if it's a dopey move. I think, are they having issues like getting it out the door? Because surely you're thinking this wouldn't be planned, because they'd be in contact with Specialized and they'd be going, hey, we've got 50,000 S-Works ready to be specced up. What do you got for us? And Shimano go, oh, it's not ready yet. And so Specialized just go, all right, well, we can't wait. We need to redo our specs and you're not, you don't get one yet. I think it's crazy. It's wild.
No Explore configuration?
Oh, damn.
No,
one bike.
Wouldn't be. No UDH, mate. No, I can't get your UDH on there. Yeah, I don't know. Dopey move. So, yeah, we had a couple of virtual episodes, Jesse, because I was away in California in the Central Valley, which is basically a frying pan at this time of year. So we talked a little bit about kind of trying to prepare for it with hot baths, but I really struggled, to be honest, and I wanted to just run you through what was going on and maybe chat through it. So essentially every day was over 100 degrees. I could get out early enough and it might be 90 degrees. So we're talking mid 30s to 40s in Celsius, all right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked to have seen my heart rate, my power, whatever it is, kind of adapt, but it just never did. Like my numbers wise, a zone 4 effort for me, which would normally sit around sort of 300 to 320 watts, would be 260 to 270, maybe 280 if I really pushed, and I would be fried, completely fried at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose my first kind of question was, is there just too hot? Is there, I mean, obviously everyone's different, but for me, is that just a scenario where you just ditch any type of effort and just ride?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of. That number, the scale of decrement you're talking about isn't that crazy. 10, 15%, totally reasonable if it's really hot and you're unacclimated.
But then is there no point? So, I mean, I could have gone out and done threshold efforts at 300 watts. Would there be no point me doing that because the power is low, so I'm just not getting any benefit? I'm not getting the stress from the power.
Yes.
Or is there benefit of me doing it in the heat because there's some secret source?
Yeah, there is. So you would classify the rides for what they are ticking. So either it's just a volume ride, which would just be straight, your endurance 3, 4, 5 hours, and you would have to drop the power, and that would just be for your volume for the week. Then you would be doing like a heat exposure ride where you're looking to get core temperature up and sitting above about 38.5 degrees. Generally for 40 to 60 minutes. And so the intervals you were doing, so you're not going to get that on an endurance ride. Generally, the intensity is too low. So a session where you're doing intervals would get you there, but you are probably going too hard. That's the thing. So your intense sessions aren't there for doing good power and getting a training stimulus via that pathway. It's for heat exposure.
Okay.
And so you would probably dial it back and you would do what would feel like more of a sweet spot or a threshold style effort. I mean, you might do like 2x30s on a 2-hour ride if it's hot, and then you just call it quits, you go home. There's your heat exposure. So you were probably, going so hard that
I couldn't finish
you weren't
any session.
Yeah, so you might have gone out and done like 2x10 and gone, this is crap, power's bad, and gone home.
Yep.
And that's the worst because you haven't accumulated enough time with the core temperature high enough to get a heat benefit, and you also haven't gotten any intensity stimulus really. So that's where you would just dial it back. But that's all you would need if you're acclimating. You do volume and the heat exposures, and maybe you would want to include like once, maybe twice a week, some kind of very short, more muscular stimulus. So you might do like some 30-second or 1-minute efforts.
Okay.
Not long enough that you're getting the decrement from the heat. And that's it. And that would be, so what you were doing was probably close to that. You were just maybe mentally cooking yourself going too hard.
Yes. And there's just a struggle from seeing power so low and effort so high that just sort of writes you off, really. Like some of those, I would just go out and I had this little 2-hour loop that I would do, and you're above 40 degrees, and you'd get home and I had an average heart rate of like 150 for it, which is like sub-threshold heart rate. And like power is like 210. And I'm completely cooked. And so I suppose what I'm asking is like, was that a valuable ride? Because I was convincing myself like, oh, this is good, Chris.
I'd have to look at it. So there's a few things. Chances are unless it was really hot, you probably weren't going quite hard enough to get your core temperature up right into the heat zone properly. So it was probably draining, but not a really good heat exposure. So on a ride like that, if you really wanted to acclimate to the heat faster, I'd probably say do a good sort of 30-minute tempo effort at the end where you're just working more likely closer to that heat zone and call it quits. If you had one of those core temperature sensors, that's the benefit of them. You don't have to really guess because it adds up how much time you've had in your heat training zone. So that's where they come into play. But yeah, I suspect you're still going to get some heat adaptation. It's probably you should have just bucketed them and either gone easier and longer or harder and gotten a proper heat exposure.
You refer to heat adaptation as in like I'm trying to improve my performance in heat. What about I'm not? Because I was over there and I did a race, and we maybe talk about that, but that was done. That was finished. That was in the first week. The rest of my riding was riding, but also, coming back to Australia and got a couple of races sort of next month after. Are those sessions in that heat beneficial for those races, which won't be in hot weather?
Firstly, you don't really have a choice because you can't suddenly turn the weather around. No. So you have no choice but to essentially follow a structure of training that is beneficial in the heat. Because you can't just go and do 4x12.
No.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And yes, the adaptation is
there's something there.
It's all the other thing as well. It's like all still aerobic. Most of it is still aerobic adaptation. It's not like there are some specific things that are happening that are benefit the heat more, but it's all still general aerobic. But that's the other thing as well. You can be internally under a lot of strain, even though you feel like you haven't really done that many efforts.
Yes.
And so that's where you have to, acknowledge the strain, the internal strain that's coming from all the heat work, and just and be comfortable with that, even if you haven't really felt that you've done any efforts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And that's what cooks people. They go, oh, this training's been junk.
Yes.
I've just been like riding around.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's kind of what you need to do.
Yeah.
with slight tweaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see in the notes here you had 3 theories. This is what Chris Miller's theories of heat training. He said, just set lower power expectations. I wouldn't do that. You need to change the session structure. So yeah, on for the equivalent effort, you have to adjust your zones. So for your endurance ride, you're going to be doing them at lower power because the heat's adding a lot of the strain. But you wouldn't just repeat the same sessions and do lower power. So I don't really agree with that one. Do less intervals. So instead of 6x8, do 3x8. Also don't really agree with that. You would need to do different intervals. So generally you would do longer, less intense intervals.
Okay.
Because you're just trying to hold your core temperature up. You don't need to be doing too much variation. And then ignore efforts entirely, just ride endurance in the heat and get the benefits that way. Not really. So you do need to ignore the heat and just do your endurance rides, but you also need to do that essentially just moderate intensity, which is where you get the heat benefit alongside just doing your endurance.
So all my 3 theories were wrong.
Pretty much.
Well, little bits of it. The only little thing that I had a small win with, because where I was riding, there's some cracking climbs, like big 30, 40-minute climbs, but there's no shade to them. They're just frying pans. And so my initial thing when I go over there, I was like, oh, awesome. I get to do these long climbs. I can get to do efforts. And we never get to really do that around here. Ended up having to kind of give up on that. And when I would try and do some longer efforts, I would do them on the flats. Theory there being at least I've got wind resistance and that's keeping me a little bit cooler because, my God, like I just totally cooked myself on one of these days, like 15 minutes in, you just forget about it.
Yeah, you would be, if you had your core temperature and your skin temperature would be going too high. Like it's just too It's just too hot.
Mm.
Yeah, in which case you're actually better off going slightly cooler. It's still hot, but otherwise you just can't really do it. And you get home, and the problem is with those things, you get back so wrecked
fucked.
that it really is like 2 or 3 days of trying to recover.
Yeah.
And that's 2 or 3 days that you aren't out retraining. It's just way too much load.
And then my other option was go to Tyler's place and ride from his place. He's at altitude. So you get up around 5,000, 6,000 feet when you're doing climbs with him, which is what, 2,500 meters or something like that. And again, I would find my power starting to drop off again because I'm at altitude now. But it's cooler.
Yeah.
So it's cooler, but I'm at altitude, so my power's dropping off. So anyway, these are the problems you have when you're slopping about California for a couple of weeks. But awesome riding, but yes.
But the same, even out of the details, the same overall principles apply. It's like build up over a few days. Don't blow your load on one ride. Make sure you have frequent rest every third or fourth day, and you'll improve. Obviously, there's detail within that, but sounds like you were getting the rest to recovery to adequate amount of load without being an idiot part. Pretty spot on.
Right, so I put those notes in about the heat stuff on the flight home. So I was just like corked, like I'm done with this, get me home, completely wrecked. So I get home Friday, so you basically leave Wednesday, you get home Friday morning, Thursday doesn't exist. You get home like 6 a.m. Friday, get home, unpack the bike, quick shout to that bike bag I had. That is literally the best bike bag I've ever used.
What was it?
I'll flash the name up. Evo Pro bike thing. It's like it comes in a you have like a stand.
Oh, the frame.
The frame inside it. So you just take the pedals and the wheels off.
Oh.
Like that's crisp proof. Anyway, so unpacked it, messaged you. You're like, no, I've racked it. You don't ride anymore. All right, well, I'm going to go into the park for an hour. Horrible. But you're swollen from the flight.
Yeah.
You take your socks off after the ride and your like calves have cut into where the sock lining is because your calves are so fat with swelling. Anyway, horrible. Then next morning, I'm up at like 4 a.m. because you're jet lagged to shit. So I was like, I'll go to Kalutsi, which is like a bunch ride here in Sydney, which I haven't done for years. Go out and that suffered the whole way through it. Like we do this chop on the way back. I'm kind of hanging on around the back, trying to do just getting it done, all the rest of it. Sunday comes along, same sort of thing. Like I'm up super early. Some of the guys were heading out to do Eastern Creek race, which is like 7 a.m. So it's an early get up. Again, I'm up. I get on the bike. It's got to be 5:05 in the morning on a Sunday, a couple of days after getting home. And I'm like, what the fuck? I've got no chain. I ride out to the race. I'm like, something's going on here. This is weird. I hadn't really had my coffee out there. The race starts and it's just...
No, coffee cart situation.
Coffee cart out there.
Good.
Cart out there.
Yep.
Shout out to the boys. And no chain. It's just... It's one of these situations where you can attack, you can do things, and there's like no repercussions, no lactic buildup. You're just doing what you want, and controversially, got a result. We can potentially dive into that a bit later, but shared the win. But so I reckon I've had one of these days last year. I remember I had one day like this, and then there was this week, and this is not, I try to stress that I've tried to replicate what happened for me last time, never been able to replicate it. And yet here I was, weirdly, almost the exact time of year. It was like early September, it was a West Head race this time last year. And I remember getting on the bike and I've got no chain. This is ridiculous. And yet there it was, again, 12 months later, appearing. So I just sort of popped that in the notes. I was like, Jesse, how did this happen? And can I have this happen again, please?
What a difficult question.
I will say,
what do you suspect it is?
Yeah. Well, so when it happened this time last year, I remember I did a really the race was on Sunday, and I did a really hard interval session on the Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And for some unknown, it just whatever happened. Yes, that what happened. So back then I thought, okay, well that's the secret. You've got to come in with like fatigue or something like that for these early morning races. Could never replicate it, so I kind of gave up on it. I assume now it was something to do with this slopping around in the heat, potentially, that got me into that place. Because there was nothing in any of the I didn't do anything that resembled the power profile of that race in the 3 weeks prior. And I did a race when I was in the US, horrible legs. Like just, I suffered the whole way through it. And yet 2.5 weeks later, I came back and felt amazing. So any clues?
I'm always apprehensive to pin it on one thing.
Go on. What's the silver bullet, Jesse?
It's just
Come on,
heat.
This is what everyone wants
the heat,
to know.
No, you would have benefited from the heat.
Okay.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. I think also the structure of I'm on your training peaks. You did 19 hours. Actually, no, that includes an hour at gym. Oh, you track duration for strength training. On the bike, 17 hours.
So much slop though, Jesse. Like, God love him, Tyler. He loves his time on the bike, but it's...
But I think this is why. So you did pretty high volume, but not that intensive, a week out. Then you flew back and you had essentially 3 days off, got the legs moving on Friday, blowout suffer session on Saturday, short-term adaptations come on, and you're fresh because you rested on the... Like, doesn't feel great, but you technically rested on the way back. And I think a combination of well rested, but enough load from the taper, plus the heat, plus good volume the week before, plus the heat stimulus, a kind of a perfect brew of, that's a pretty classic taper, really.
Okay. Yeah.
The weird thing is that, firstly, you can't replicate it, which is annoying for you because you should be able to, because that's what it should feel like when you do an A race. That shouldn't be a random once a year when the moons line up. That's not
the moon
good.
I have footage of this. I'm riding to the race and it's a massive full moon. Maybe I'm a werewolf. I don't know.
And maybe also you don't do your heat blocks properly.
Or at all.
So there's that. So maybe you sort of, if you just haven't, you've forced yourself to do a heat block, but you've actually, because of the weather, you've forced yourself to do it properly. So, combination, I think.
I've definitely found, and I hate these sort of generalizations because obviously everyone is very, very different, but I have certainly found since turning 42 that there's this weird, I've never had it before, where you just really have good days and you really have bad days. I was a very plateaued rider for a long period of time, but now I will very much have those days more and more.
Two other things that I would look at. You'd also want to zoom out a bit further. So you were, before you went to the US, hadn't been riding heaps. It's actually like Chris Miller with a CTL under 80. What planet are we on? So you kind of you had a rest. What was it, like 2 months of riding?
Well, I had crypto.
Yeah. So that was the off season. You almost had like a mini winter sort of preseason thing. Then you had what was essentially like a heat training camp. So you're well rested with a recent stimulus.
Yeah.
So that is a factor that you'd factor in. The other thing you would want to look at is like, actually, what numbers did you do on that day? Because you might have felt amazing, but was it just a sensation, or were you actually like smacking huge numbers? Because that can be sort of confusing where you feel good, but you look and you go, actually, like I have done better numbers than this, even though I wasn't feeling as good maybe 6 months ago. So you'd want to look at that before just assuming you're having this miracle day. Because it could just be relative freshness. At a time like this as well, because it's a crit, you're not really going to know exactly how good your fitness is. You'd probably would be suitable to do some kind of testing effort soon. and see what numbers you're doing. And if you do PB, near PB numbers, you need to go and look what you did the last 3 months because something's working there. And so maybe you need to downscale your training. Maybe going and sitting at 105 CTL a year is just not what you're able to.
What is my CTL at the moment?
106?
Oh, I'm over 100. I didn't know that.
But you only got up there when you left.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And so maybe maybe you only can float up there for 4-6 weeks at a time, and maybe you need to come back down to 80.
Yep.
Whereas previously you would have just kept rolling through this all through summer.
Plateauing away.
Yeah, and you never touched the form you had last weekend.
Yeah, do love a plateau. Beautiful place to be.
On heat stuff, Nike have some new heat dissipating tech for their ultra marathon runners. So it's this funky looking lacy sort of singlet thing that they're wearing, which they're calling Nike Radical Airflow. They reckon this is a new era in dealing with the heat. So instead of traditional materials, which is like wick sweat off the skin and sort of hold it there so it can evaporate off it and cool you down, the way they've sort of knitted this material is that it has all these sort of holes in it that are shaped to what they claim is to sort of speed up airflow as it hits the fabric by going from like a wider to a smaller. It's like a funnel. And so they're claiming that when you wear this, it accelerates how well you cool because the airflow is actually faster when it hits the sweat that's held off your skin. And so they're using it in some trail running. And I think like the jury's out on exactly how much it cools you and it needs more independent testing, but tech that can significantly cool you down will see like performance improvement a lot. Obviously for cycling, maybe I'm guessing that this isn't particularly aerodynamic given it's designed to capture the air.
It's a little lace number from Pride and Prejudice. I think this one. This is quite interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So they reckon it's going to retail spring 2026, but I thought it was interesting. I could see this. You have like a, Hort Route jersey or hill climb jersey. I could see a Red Bull Bora rider running this in, that the hill climb TT they did at the Tour de France this year.
Yeah.
I can see a rider running this where aero doesn't really matter. The principle behind it, obviously it's like a Nike press release. You don't know how much is this? It's just bullshit. But the premise behind it makes sense. It's like if you can not have sweat drip off you like you would if you weren't wearing a shirt at all, and also not have the sweat trapped in, have it just sitting nicely off the skin and have airflow accelerating towards your skin. I mean, it makes sense why that would cool you down. So I thought interesting kind of development for Nike there. And Nike as well do have a history of actually innovating stuff. Like they've done a lot. I think they were the first ones that did the carbon plate in the shoe, and they do have a lot of money to put into this stuff. So I thought it was interesting, something to keep an eye on.
So currently, the protocols around a cooling product that you wear is what? That it's breathable and light. Is that essentially is that kind of the premise?
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas,
and moisture wicking, so it pulls the sweat to the surface of the fabric, and so the air can, hit it.
But doesn't this looks quite heavy?
Yes.
Or like, it just looks like a.
It looks, for those that are just listening, it looks like a fishing net.
It looks like a fishing net. A thick lace, like fishing net that you'd run around with, and it gets wet because of your sweat. And so therefore the air's going through that, and that's has a cooling effect onto your skin, I assume. Is that the theory?
Yes. Is that it will, it's I mean, it's almost more holes than it is material. So the idea being that it just perfectly holds the sweat just off the skin without allowing any of it to drip off you, which was a waste. And then the shape of the air ducts accelerates the air onto your skin, so it evaporates faster. And so you can actually, in theory, you'd actually, if it's evaporating sweat faster, it means you can sweat more, which cools you down more.
Yeah, get around this. Caleb Olsen, trail runner. Wearing it is like stepping into a fridge.
Yep. There's some nice.
I need a helmet like this.
Yeah.
I need a helmet like this. Yeah.
Isn't that what the POC one is claimed?
Yeah, but it needs to be. Somehow you need to get that. It needs to wick the moisture off your head into the helmet, and then so therefore the helmet's wet, and then as the air's blowing in, it's then cooling your head. And I got a reverse cycle air conditioner thing happening. No, I can get around this. I follow Caleb Olsen on Instagram.
I do.
Yeah.
You would have seen him in it. Yeah.
There you go. No, I missed that. I was into his skiing stuff a while back.
Just a quick break because the skin suits and kit is back in stock. So let's go. We have the white Nero suit with the pocket behind the neck. We've also got the 2025 orange version back in stock, also with the pocket. So both of them have the cargo leg pockets and the pocket behind the neck now. And I've also got the winter jerseys back in stock. So the winter, just can I chat about the winter jerseys for a sec? It's not really a jacket.
No.
It is a jersey intended to be worn as the single layer. So temperature range with no base layer, just on its own, I reckon about 11 to 16 degrees Celsius. With a base layer, between kind of 4 and 11 degrees. That's kind of coverage. So it's not your full winter thermal overlayer. It's sort of anything from about 4 degrees Celsius upwards. It's really good. And it is still breathable. So you can train, if it's like 10 to 12 degrees, you can train in it, do efforts in it because it's not fully windproof. So it is a jersey. So that is back in stock.
I chopped down on it all winter.
Yep.
So I would describe it as a lightly fleeced jersey. So it's got that little bit of fluff on the inside.
Yep.
Give it like a nice soft, warm feeling to it. But it's certainly not heavy.
No.
Any stretch. All the footage of me in that S5 review, that's that jersey. And I even raced in it. I'll bring up a picture of that. I raced in it as well.
There is also Aero socks in stock. Shipping wise, it's going to get a little confusing because of the whole tariff situation. I'm going to open the shipping up to all countries. Australia Post temporarily suspended shipping to the US while they sorted out this new system so that I can prepay the tariff before it's sent. So that their shipping to the US will be back up on or before the 25th of September. And I'll put a little note on the website. So I'm going to allow orders from the US, but it's probably not going to be shipped this week. So there will be a slight delay, but I'll open the orders up if you want, because people might want to get their order in. Because this will be the last stock before next year, before Christmas. So Christmas presents, anything like that, get in now because we won't yet be doing another order before the end of the year. And also once there will probably be a small tariff charge for US orders because that they removed essentially it used to be under $800. You didn't have to pay any duties or customs. They got rid of that. So you order a $5 t-shirt from Temu. If you're in the US, you get charged a tariff. And so I have to add that on. I can't eat that. It's just impossible. But yeah, free shipping on all orders except for the Aero socks. So if you order just the Aero socks on their own, they will have a shipping cost. And yeah, all in stock. Go check it out. Links in the description.
Okay, quickly, couple of new bikes.
We always say quickly, and then
I know,
20 minutes later, we're still on it.
I legitimately don't have much to add on this. There's a few little points I want to hit.
All right, let's go.
Particularly. New R5, super light.
Yep.
Out of the box, 5 point something.
No, isn't it 5.9?
5.9 with a Duros build with those reserve 33s or whatever it is. So, like, box ticked as far as super light bike. They've updated the geometry, so the geometry now matches the S5, which was one of the big criticisms of the previous iteration of it. What's weird about this is like if I'd ridden and raced, like if my Bianchi Specialist...
Sorry, just hold on. Just on the spec. Velo did a good video on it with the guy rode it around. He's like, it feels stiff. It feels like a TCR, but it's lighter. And he did went through all the different components on the bike of where they've stripped the weight out. It's like they redid the UDH hanger. They redid the handlebars. They redid this, that. Like they have gone and done a full weight, top to bottom weight weanieism of it. Pretty impressive.
I can guarantee this was a total rebuild. 100%. This is not absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
probably
old mate's hair though. Can we just quickly for a moment? Like, wow. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. It's just a good video. If you want to go and watch that one, if you just want to see what it's about. And I was impressed when I watched the video. They've done a good job. And it's light. It's a climbing bike that's actually light. So yeah.
It's a climbing bike that's light, but the reality is you're in this position where the pros aren't really going to ride it, and therefore it's a bike that is being sold as a pro peloton climbing bike that's going to be a tough sell given the fact that its main influences are going to choose the S5 over it. Now, that's a nice problem to have if you're in that team, but the reality is I think that's where it's at. And I kind of think about it as well, like, who would I recommend this bike to?
Well, anyone that's not too concerned with the price and wants an extra bike to do Peaks Challenge on. Yeah, compared to a 7 kilo do-it-all build, you got a 6 kilo.
Okay. Yep.
You know?
Yep.
It's not your only bike, so you're not too worried.
Rim brake crowd who, disc brakes are fucking heavy. Well, there's a really, really light one.
But they're not spending 15 grand on a
thing.
bike.
Yeah. That's the other thing. So there's that. I mean, I saw GC Performance had a bit of a video about it, essentially saying bikes are boring unless the UCI lower the weight limit on it. I think that's probably an argument that we've been talking about for a while. We don't really have an update on. But this is probably the best lightweight climbing bike on the market. Spec-wise.
That and the Scott Addict.
Yeah.
And it's a climbing bike that does what it says on the tin and doesn't claim to do other stuff, which is just nice. It's pretty clear what it is and they've done it well. And I think, compared to some of the other, compared to like the Trek Madome, like what is this? And it's confusing and it's nothing is really adding up. It's just nice to see a bike that has a purpose and that you don't have to rack your brain doing gymnastics to try and figure out how it's doing it properly.
And it does make you think that it's the soloist is, need of a refresh.
Well, that's just we will move on, but just that's kind of the problem Cervelo have almost built for themselves is there's a lot of people that the S5 scares off or that it's just not suited for them because it's too much bike.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not quite, I need just a stick razor thin climbing bike. And the soloist is a bit dated, doesn't really do one. And they're just going to get an SL8.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think in going to two extremes quite well and the middle ground not being that attractive, soloist is probably fine. The bicycle station guys seem to like it. So it's not like that's a bad bike, but that compared to an SL8, it's a hard sell. So they're probably due that an update just to the run-of-the-mill, tick all boxes kind of thing. And then if they do that well, they'll have it top to bottom. Really.
Canyon don't have a do-it-all, do they?
No.
They're just going with the... yeah, okay.
Yeah, but they've got the same problem.
Yes.
Someone goes, Air Road's not for me. The ultimate, they end up on a Trek Madone.
Yep.
But there's another do-it-all on the market, Chris.
Hit me.
Windspace SLC 5.0.
I saw this.
It looks like a Cervelo thing. It's just an SL7 kind of job seat stays. The SLC was their old climbing bike, and so they've aero tweaked it. It's got some nice sculpt into the head tube. I watched the video of it. It's got there's a bit of a speed sniffer going on. It's kind of pointed towards the front, so there is some good shaping there. The fork's got a bit of blading to it.
Fuck, that's a Cervelo. Go on, sorry.
you'd be looking there going, oh, that's a nice kind of do-it-all option for someone that just wants, tick all the boxes. The problem is it's $2,800 without handlebars for a Windspace. Do it all. So I just wanted to mention it. It is new. It looks like they've done a pretty good job. I just don't understand what they're doing with the pricing. Is that the pricing for all of them, or is that just that paint? No, it is. It is all of them. Yeah, that's a tough sell. $2,800 without handlebars.
Well, they looked at Seeker and went, well, you boys can charge whatever you want. We'll get involved. Yeah. We've been around longer.
Right? Is it a race to the bottom or a race to the top? Anyway, I thought there's a lot of people that go, oh, that's sort of a nice bike. It looks pretty good. Probably rides well. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing with this pricing. But that's the new Windspace. And then there's just 10% off your first purchase. There you go. Save $280 if you put your email in. I don't know. This is just odd. Why they just imagine going to Specialized and just use this code, take 10% off.
Have we seen any compelling review yet of the T1600? I know Hambini did his walk around.
Hambini did the walk around.
I'm really interested to see if there's any ride reviews of note on that yet. Comment down below if you have seen one or you've got one and you want to promote your ride review. One of our viewers might have one of these. Do a review. Put it up. We will shout it out.
I'm searching now. There's no the only sort of reviews or looks at it is GC, Hambini.
Yeah,
and none of them have actually just proper.
So I'm interested. This seat post thing interests me. There's a bit going on actually. And that's cheaper than the Do It All. Is Windspace as a brand comparable yet to any mainstream brand? It's just a pure, can you park it up? Can you park it up next to a Cannondale? And it's it's got equal clout? No.
Hell no.
Can you park it up next to?
But you could roll up your Evolve, and you'd get some. What's that? Oh, the Evolve thing.
Yeah.
The Windspace. So I'm not a branding person, but you would have thought Windspace, they should just do a boutique version and then just up the price on that.
Get an RDC version?
Yeah. But don't have a Windspace logo on it. Just create some spin-off thing and do like a
Toyota Lexus thing.
You got Lab 71. You could just have the W Lab.
Space squared. Space cubed.
Mm-hmm.
Patent that.
And then your new mold, your new frame, you just release under that, and you talk
totally
about the different types of layup. Oh, there's some T. Because they've done that here. They've got look at this
carbon in
T800 and T1100 and M65 and M46 carbon fiber. I mean that deserves its own brand. I mean, don't call it a Windspace. And then they can just keep their Windspace for around the $2,000-$1,900 mark for your general Windspace, which they'd still be making some.
I think you could collab with a high fashion brand as well, like a Chanel. Something.
You've lost the plot.
Get in there. Well, I tell you who'd get around that. The Chinese market were queuing up the airport at their.
Well, they're not buying Windspaces.
Well, they might if they're collabed with Burberry. 6 bikes today, Jesse Coyle.
Oh.
Will we have 6 dogs? Will we have 6 fast bikes? Hold on to find out.
And remember, dog or bike stickers come with every Nero suit or winter jersey order. If you want to get them, that's how you can get your fingers on them.
So, bike 1, an SL7 Rovel Rapide handlebars, 38mm, 110mm S-Works Tarmac stem, no integrated bar, as I crashed recently. Blah, blah, blah. Fastsports Evo S50 wheels with ceramic bearings, interesting, to make up the 2 watt loss of the bar and stem. Cybray 165 centimeters. Jesus, Cybray is the new CRWs. Anyway, Cybray 165s and Look Keo blade carbon pedals, 5439 chainring, 1130 Dura-Ace cassette, 32 GP5000s. He's got some
on an SL7 frame. Wow.
Though they are not set up tubeless.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. 7.2 kilos with computer mount and pedals. So confirming with computer mount and pedals. So lighter than my S5, Jesse. I think this is easy.
Curious, go.
I think these wheels are fantastic.
Okay.
Got the carbon spoked version of these. There is a suitable amount of stack. Probably got himself a nice aerodynamic position here. He's thought a little bit about that, so he's made up for whatever his 2-watt loss is on the lack of integration there with a nicely tucked head. He's able to stretch out. He can maybe go a slightly longer stint, but anyway, we'll allow it for now. The bolts on the chain rings attempting to match the red, that's a little bit of a faux pas for me. I've never liked that because you have to nail the colour palette perfectly and you've kind of missed it, unfortunately. Rotor chain rings, big fan of those, stiff boys. I'll allow the fact he's not running tubeless on this particular occasion. And look, I think this is a really neatly customized SL7 frame. Do I think it's rip your face off fast? No. Certainly don't think it's a dog.
Yeah. I'll agree with you. Yeah. Tidy. I'll go, it's a tidy build. Yep.
Tidy build.
Yep.
Could have done a lot worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done.
Just have a look at some of GC Performance's builds. Bike 2. Hey guys, long time listener here and first time submitter. Since Jesse is looking for an all Chinese build, sending you my road. The Kozo 1.
Oh, yes.
It's got the Kozo 1.
Oh,
it's got wheel top EDS TX with wheel top OSPWs.
Oh dear.
Hang on, I'm not accepting which shifts like 105 DO2.
Come on.
Hang on. Anecdotes like that put you back. 5236 with 165 millimeter Magine PES cranks, 1134 12-speed Ultegra cassette. No, it's not all Chinese.
Okay.
Waxed Durace chain, right at saddle. That's your one, I think, isn't it? And for the wheel set, I'm running a Magine XR DB508 with a pair of 30 GP thousands STR tubeless. More power to the show. Here it is. Kozo.
As far as I'm concerned,
rocket ship.
This was going to come down to the wheel set for me. Because the frame, that's fast. I mean, look at it.
That's narrow. There's a narrowness there. There's a bit of a canyon-esque. Yep. Get me on Kozo.
I'm not sold on the wheel top group set, but if he's been running it and hasn't had any issues, who am I to judge? You know, seems to be working.
You're Jesse Coyle, and you should judge. that's your job.
Okay. So the wheels. DB508s. Good wheel set. Known to be, they're Lino approved stiff though. So, the only complaint would be mixed surface sort of chip seal road race. That Riot saddle's not absorbing much. So you'd be feeling it. But what's he got on here? 2030s? So we got 30s.
Set of 30s on there.
Set of 30s. I think that's a fast bike. I think you get tucked in there and you're happy.
Well, have you seen less saddle to bar drop in your life?
That is.
I think that's level. Oh, that's actually 0 degrees bar drop. So potentially quite short legs on this fella. In fact, we've got a little photo of him squirting up a hill. Little squirt there. I agree. I think the Kozo is doing a fantastic job.
Yep.
And the wheels will potentially make up for any ruggedness. But in a straight line, fantastic.
I think I respect the choice of wheels too, because you'd be tempted to put some stupid 90mm deep gimmick thing because it's an aeroframe, but just go on the 50s. I think smart. So well done. I like it. Well done.
Kozo for the boys. All right, bike 3 is a Fazari AR1 VO SL small 51 centimeter black raw carbon finish. Say that 10 times.
Okay.
Carbon, ceramic coated, physics saddles, Cycle Concepts 3D print. Hang on, let's chill out. Zip via Crest 404s, overfast carbon through axles. Okay. Tires currently are the Vittoria Corsa Pro tubeless. He's using muck-off sealant, Shimano Ultegra SPD pedals, SRAM Axis Force drive chain, 165 cranks.
Neil approved.
Ceramic speed bottom bracket, 5034, 1036, SRAM red chain, waxed, Fast Sports bars. He's gone the Wahoo Element Roam 3 Varias. Current weight with pedals, 16.98 pounds.
What's that in the new money?
I'll do some music.
Translating 7.7 kilograms.
Okay. We've had a Fazari on here.
Yeah. We have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a split decision, this one, because we can pick through the build, and then I think it is going to come down to the frame. But what are you thinking, just if we start with the build? I'm not loving it. It's just some odd decisions. So 404s, okay. But then Corsa Pros, not super puncture resistant. And then
I don't give a shit.
Overfast through axles.
Well, that's a strange decision.
Yeah.
I mean, when did you become a weight weenie? You're running zip wheels and a Fazari.
That's where I'm going.
Like,
yeah.
You know, I mean, get some Galfers on here, really, if you're going to go that route.
So a bit funny, in the build spec. I'm not seeing it. There's no vision. I'm not getting inspired. It seems like a bit of a pick and mix build. But what are you thinking? What frame wise? What's Chris's vibe on the old Fazari?
There's some nods.
Yeah. That's all I was.
There's some nods. I'm not hating the maybe just that matte finish is doing a good job of emphasizing some of the tube shapes.
Some sculpting.
I quite like the sculpting around the rear wheel. I think that the headset seems to have a little shallowness with some depth. Nice sloped top tube. Probably is going to assist with the ride quality of it. There's nothing there that screams dog to me. That said, there's just a, what did you call it? A pick and mix flavor to this that bugs me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, is it just the zip wheels that are bothering me? And I think it is.
For me, it's the overfast through axles. If this had stock through axles, I don't think I'd have a problem with it. I'm struggling to go, like this guy's walking around going, the Nero boy said this is a fast bike. It's just one too many oddities that I'm leaning towards dog on a balance.
Now, Creed lives in Green Bay. Go Pack. So the reason I say that, he's in Wisconsin. So he's probably got every fucking person around him riding a Trek. So Creed's running the Fazari to sort of spice it up a bit. So I appreciate the fact he hasn't just gone to the local Trek dealer, got them a Dome, because that's what everyone else has done. But you could have done better than this. Sorry. That's heading to the pound.
Yep. Sorry, Creed. That's where we've landed.
Dog pound.
Close one, though.
Cleveland Browns. Bike 4 is a Factor Ostrovam Prisma Studio. That puts it in a certain price point. Size 58, black ink bar stem 58, 140s. Black ink 0 offset seat post, Shimano Ultegra 12-speed throughout, except for the side brake. Is that a clean sweep for side brake cranks? 167.5, Dura Ace 5440, Dura Ace 1134. Dog of a rotor because braking is overrated. Alien L6W wheels, black sidewalls, Pro Logo, Nargo R4 Paz 3D saddle, Favero Asioma Pros on the new ones. Neat carbon radar mount, Silka Secret wax, ticking all the boxes.
7.6 ready to ride with pedals.
With pedals, with computer mount, and with radar.
And a 58.
Pretty
good.
Fence post spec. It's very hard to make a big fence post like this look good.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. But a big schlong of a stem out the front always helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, I like. I'd be interested to know. I mean, because this is a custom paint job, so he's obviously he's got a theory behind the paint job.
You don't hate it? You don't hate it? Okay.
I just reckon there must be a.
Is a matching kit to go with it?
Must be some matching kit.
Yeah.
You would have.
Oh, there's nothing. Look, it's just in fact the Rostro where you've done shorten the cranks and gone lighter, and you put some. Those alien wheels the specs are quite good. I've seen those around. That's a fast bike.
It's a fast bike. It's interesting you go the full Prisma Studio setup, but you don't run the black inks.
Oh, that's just smart.
It's just smart?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. The only standout issue is whoever wrapped these bar tape. I'm sorry, but that's horrendous.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's coming back with all the physique logos sticking out under the...
horrendous.
Yeah, that's a shocker.
In fact... If I wasn't feeling as generous as I am, that would be an absolute deal breaker.
Future submissions, you're on notice.
I mean, that's potentially the worst bar tape wrap we've ever had submitted. So it pains me to say it, but I think it is a fast bike. But you are on notice. Right, last one. We are just going to do 5. Windspace T 1550 Gen 2 SRAM Red E1 1033 52 tooth wolf tooth chainring. Sorry. S-Works power meter, S-Works bolt and expander plug, GP 5000 STRs, Silka sealant, speed pay pedals. I don't see too many of those. Elite Legrero cages. Identity Crisis, do-it-all bikes are good, but I'll admit, but I refuse to break from the aero
orthodoxy.
But I refuse to break from the aero orthodoxy. This is how I hold out and wait to see if an industry will give us a venge. Okay. Let me know if I need another dog sticker. The one I have is already destined for the LA Sprint that he currently owns.
Actually, here's a question for you. Hold on. Do the old Roval wheels make sense as an upgrade for your bike if you don't have a Specialized? We've read out the specs on the new ones. You know what they're about. Carbon spokes, reverse mullet. Would you consider them as an upgrade?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so ticks that box. No, these ones not anymore because they've updated them. But I can. Okay, so you that's not necessarily, a silly way to put your money. Okay. Windspace frame, fine. 1x road. I have my gripes with one, but I actually think that looks cool.
Yeah, I agree. Actually.
I'm not actually hating the 1x on this build. 30mm tyres, which you're going to need with that frame.
The weird thing about this bike from my perspective is the comment about the Venge is kind of ringing in my ears because it looks to me that he's trying to recreate the Venge in this build. And to the extent that he's thrown the Rovile wheels on there, and it's almost like an up yours to Specialized. Hey, give me the Venge, because otherwise I'm going to ride this.
Stick it to the man.
Which I don't hate. I don't mind. I think that the frame looks pretty cool. I actually do think this is a pretty fast bike. Yeah, I rate it. I think it's fast. I think it's good. I don't know why you're running one by, but whatever. That's good. Cool. Go nuts. I hazard a guess this isn't his only bike. Well, we know that. But yeah, I think it's fast.
Okay. Done. Let's agree. Fast bike. Well done.
All right, a couple of quick comments from last week's show. Just to go back, a lot of that chat was around the S5, the wind tunnel testing, and how that sort of was being received. I'm a mechanical engineer. My opinion is that the tour tests are valid and far more consistent with a half dummy. Just don't split hairs so much, 2 watts and all that. Using a full static dummy is bad because each manufacturer will have different geometries and contact points. The dummy can be put in an unrealistic position to make aero gains. Repeatability is always an issue. Just look at car dynos. Okay. Technically, you cannot compare any 2 dyno tests unless they were conducted on the same machine, the same day or hour. They are complex machines and have errors in absolute terms.
The dummy can be put into an unrealistic position to make aero gains, but the whole point is they put the dummy in the same position. I mean, yeah, you could move the dummy to save 5 watts, but that would be cheating. And sorry, repeatability is always an issue, but Tour Magazine claim 1 watt between tests year on year. So I understand, like, because they say, well, that's just what they claim. So unless the person, they say they control for the conditions and they tear the wind tunnel, blah, 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 and then so it's 1 watt between years. So unless you think that they've got that wrong.
All right, last one on this then, because this was like what everyone wanted to comment on, right? Speaking as a long-time well-qualified armchair aerodynamicist with many years of solid speculative experience. Oh, I love your work. I think that testing bikes without a torso on the mannequin would miss a lot of data. Removing the torso would most certainly change the airflow as it passed along the bars, top tube, and seat post, and would likely also change airflow at the seat stay junction and part of the rear wheel. I would also note that the photo of the Tour Magazine test mannequin looks pretty rough. The pieces of duct tape on it alone are like adding dirt to their results, and I'm certain that the duct tape configuration wrinkles accept to change over time. They should do better. I do tend to think Cervelo's testing method would render more accurate and consistent results, but the lack of moving legs is a bit troubling, and it would be beneficial to incorporate a mannequin with moving legs with joints that are covered by some sort of latex or other smooth material to cover gaps over the knees, ankles, hips, etc. There should be an agreed upon industry standard for testing, and to go further, it would be great if a testing mannequin, like this, was developed by a third neutral party, and that agreed upon to all adopted for this purposes. There you go, Rona McLaughlin. Design a industry standard mannequin. Sell the rights to that. I like that.
I love this. So we got one commenter, mechanical engineer, saying, full dummies slop, half dummies better. The next guy saying half dummies better. Sorry. The next person saying the half dummy's no good, the full dummy's better because you get the airflow.
And it was interesting because, and that's why I picked these two out, because both these 2 comments had almost the equal number of likes. So it's like equal number of people agree with equally different takes on it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's where we're at, really.
Look, I'll say it.
Hold on.
Well, no one else is saying it. No. I think Tour Magazine's claim that a test they did 4 years ago is within a watt of a test they did this year is not valid. Yes. I reckon that's a big claim that they haven't really shown evidence of. Because as far as I'm aware, they haven't taken a reference bike in once every 6 months and tested it, and shown that it's within a watt over the last 5 years. So I'm claiming that their watt claim is a bit make-believe. There we go.
Industry
as
shield.
Evidenced by the tape You know, that's probably a good point. Like, what's this tape on the flapping bits of tape on the dummy? So anyway, that's where we've landed. We are no better off. So thanks, Chris and Jesse.
All right, before we go, Jesse, little observation about some observations, a couple of little rants about my riding and racing in the US. Positives, negatives, all the rest of it. Okay, firstly, this chat about road racing in the US being dead, fake news. Fake news in comparison to the crap we have. NorCal race calendar, absolutely fantastic. So they've got around at least 20 race days a year of actual road races. And it's all clever stuff, like 12, 14K circuit style events that are 80 miles. So you do 5-6 laps of this kind of thing. So not logistically too difficult, they're with open roads, all right turns because they're on the right-hand side of the road, so they're not having to cross traffic at any point. And other little clever things. So it's hot, so feed zones. And they did this really cool thing where you'd have work stands, the work stands you'd have at home, and they would put bottles on the work stands. And so you could go beforehand and go, right, can I put 2 bottles on? I'm in cat whatever. And then there's just a person who puts them on the bottle stand, and as you go through, you just take your bottle. So you can go as a full solo nobody person and go to your bike race, have your neutral service all looked after from that kind of perspective. Rate it. Another thing, people in Australia, stop calling
Here we go.
Stop calling your B grade club race a Cat 2. Cat 2 racing in the US is quite a high level.
Yes.
So it would be our Div 2. So if we had state road racing, which we used to have, we have a little bit of now, but that would be our Div 2. If you're going to a club race and you're doing a B grade club race, it's not Cat 2.
No.
It's nowhere near Cat 2. So just shut up on that. So that's kind of a positive for US racing.
B grade club racing is the Cat 3-4 field in the US.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's kind of a positive for US racing. Stronger than you think. Masters teams, total shit show. Can we just done with this? It's ruined. Now, obviously, I'm sooky about it because I didn't have a good day, but that wasn't the Masters teams. I honestly think, so you've got, we had a good field of like 40 guys, and there's 2 teams with 8 people in it. And it just completely nullifies the racing. No one racing at a Masters level needs the support of a Masters team to be there. They're all privateers anyway. I guarantee you would actually benefit from just full privateer spec. We're all there to bash each other's head in, and enough of this. No, my teammate's up the road, not riding. Crap. Just no.
Actually don't agree with you.
Okay.
I think part of the reason why the races are getting good at turnout is because of the team aspect. People enjoy being on a team. Now, you could argue from a racing point of view, it's not very good because it kind of ruins the tactics. But from a participation point of view, people like being on a team. So it's for the greater good that they have the team.
But what are you enjoying more about it? You're driving 3 hours to sit in a bunch or cover moves to never be.
Yeah, but that's because you're good. And
there's a lot of people very good at.
But they might not want to just sit at home on their own and sign up for the race on their own and drive out on their own and do it all on their own.
There's nothing stopping. I'm not talking about like getting a couple of mates and going to a race. Like, yeah, definitely. But
without a team structure, that's hard. People find that hard to do. The team structure makes it quite easy because your mates are the people you're on the team with. Otherwise, here it's like
there's people with SL8s and S5s, like fucking dentists and rocket scientists. They're not signing up to a bike race is not hard to do.
Not hard. It's not. If you're not with the team, then for a lot of people, that's then not a social outing. It's just loner Chris Miller rocking up on his own and just having a nod to the local guys, and you're doing it all. You're basically doing it all on your own. Whereas because they have the teams that aren't like teams here, which those teams are like it's almost like a club. They're not super selective. So what you're seeing there as a teams is more what we have as clubs, sort of, where they're not that hard to get into.
Okay.
So,
I mean, but I look at what we have here at that level. Okay.
No one goes to our races.
That's. But at a Masters level, so I'm not talking about at the Cat 1, Cat 2 level. That's a different story. I'm just talking about what I experienced in the Masters level, and that social element that you're saying that is there in a team aspect.
Yes.
I think we have that easily in Australian Masters privateer racing, but we just don't. It's not comparable because we just don't have the races. So ultimately my point's mute anyway because I would take their system every day of the week because they actually have races to go and do. So feel free to completely ignore me.
But also, like, the sort of, hey man, I'm not rolling. I got a teammate up the road. People think that's really fun.
Really?
I think so. It's less pressure on you. You just get to go. It's like a bunch ride. Just go and fuck around and it's like pretend racing, which is not good for someone that likes to race like you. But if you just want to rock up with some buddies in matching kit and play pretend team tactics and everyone kind of has fun doing that and you're there like, oh, these tactics suck. But there's 30 other guys that are going, oh, we like doing this and having a fake kind of half-cock sprint at the end.
Okay.
But there's 3 times as many people turning up. I mean, I
appreciate the counterpoint.
Yeah.
I appreciate the counterpoint. And maybe, again, I'm looking at it completely the wrong way. Maybe that's what Masters racing should be. Maybe I'm the loser thinking it should be like, oh, we're all fucking racing. Hey. Like, they got it right and I've got it wrong. Next time I go back, maybe I should just do the Cat 1 too and
join a team. Get amongst it.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Who are they? Thirsty Birds or something. Thirsty Birds?
Stick a jersey on him.
Something
and you can
thirsty.
go and, chat. Boys. Oh, I wouldn't work with me.
See,
all the chat at the end, he wouldn't do this and this bloke did this and it's just all fake, but it's whatever.
It was kind of funny because they all got towed up by the other sprinter. Anyway.
That's all right.
And they do run the jerseys. We don't do that here.
What do you mean? What?
Well, they all run like the representative jerseys. So your state champs jersey, your district jerseys.
No, I rate that.
And then you keep your bands. So you've got your bands on.
No, I actually think that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, rate that.
Yeah.
I'd get around that, 100%. Couple of just random thoughts. Doing pissos on the side of the road, fucking dangerous. They're big on public urination there.
Oh.
You can't just, I'm not talking about riding around LA just pulling into someone's
You mean in a race or?
No, just riding around.
Right.
So if you're riding around a very rural area, no one around,
mm-hmm.
pull in, nice little secluded spot, you will get hassle. If someone comes past, I'll call the cops on you. It's very frowned upon. You have to find public toilets.
Oh.
I had quite a few incidents.
Oh, no.
Anyway, there you go.
Right.
All right, that's it.
Cool.
We'll see everyone next week.
See you then.
Same time, same place.
Bye.